So for Eurydice, I was the assistant stage manager, and it was actually my first show ever. We had a full-on shower that rained and had a light go on. We had a fountain. So I was in charge of all the water effects and making sure all of those were executed properly. For Drowsy Chaperone, I was stage manager, but I was also lighting crew head, so I was responsible for calling all of our light cues, and I also helped in some lighting design, but I also trained our spot operator. And in addition to my lighting responsibilities, I called all the backstage cues and actually performed in the show a little bit towards the end.
Oh, here we go!
I think my highlight for Drowsy was certainly Aldolfo. It was a cue I'd always been excited about, even when our director and assistant director announced it at the end of Aldolfo. The lights were completely red, the stage was red, and our Drowsy was sitting on the bed, lying down, and our Aldolfo was going to take a running jump onto the bed, and all the lights and spot were going to cut. And so I'd seen it in rehearsals. I obviously knew it was good. It looked seamless, but there was nothing that prepared me for the audience reaction. For King Lear, I was the assistant director, so with our tight timeline, this entailed a lot of me taking individual scenes. There were a couple scenes that I had complete control over. I gave the actors their blocking and gave them their notes. I took actors aside to work on monologues and individual parts. For example, I worked on France's speeches to Cordelia with the actors who play France and Cordelia.
Fairest Cordelia, that art most rich being poor, most choice forsaken, and most love despised. Thee and thy virtues I call upon. Be it lawful, I take up what's cast upon.
I completely blocked the entirety of Edgar's Poor Tom monologue in Act 2, Scene 3.
With roaring voices, sometime with lunatic bands, sometime with prayer, enforce their charity. Poor truly God! Poor Tom! Poor Tom. But something yet. Edgar, I nothing am.
And I blocked also the entirety of Act 2, Scene 4, which is where Goneril and Albany really go at each other.
Mine goes to Vassar. Oh, the difference between a man and a man. I've been worth the whistle.
Goneril, you're not worth the dust which the movement blows in your face.
I'm someone who has always had difficulty feeling proud of the things I've done, especially in theater. I come from a school environment that is very much, wow, you've done this, but what about this? What about this thing this other person did? And especially with theater, it's been tough for me to see my mark on a show with stage managing, but I remember watching the actors and the technicians on the second night of Lear and thinking, I've never felt so proud of anyone or anything ever in my entire life. Like, it just felt magical just watching them, because I knew that there were times in rehearsal where they didn't think we'd have a show. They didn't know, but there were times in rehearsal where I didn't think we'd have a show, including 2 days before. And it was just wonderful to be able to see them up there and smiling in bows, knowing that they have accomplished something.